Hi friends, recently I graduated from the Humber College Real Estate Salesperson program, and this February 2023 I registered with RECO, which is the Real Estate Council of Ontario. I have started to practice as a real estate salesperson. In this video, I'm going to share you my experience, steps and process methods I followed to finish this Humber College program, and I'm going to discuss about the cost that is involved here and also some of the frequently asked questions. Is practice questions like pass it or mini cram really necessary to pass this, or which one is better? Pass it or mini cram? I know you'll be thinking, okay, real estate salesperson needs to know a lot of math. There's a lot of math involved in the exams for real estate salesperson. I'm going to discuss all these in this video, so watch it fully from start to finish so that you'll get a full understanding of what I did, how I did, so that you can replicate that. I was able to pass all the exams in first attempt. I'm also going to discuss the way I studied to pass all these exams. To practice as a licensed registered salesperson in Ontario, this Humber College real estate program is mandatory. This program is not offered anywhere else, so you have to take it with Humber College. This program is called Real Estate Salesperson Program Pre-Registration Phase. Why pre-registration? Because you are taking this before registering with Real Estate Council of Ontario. This whole program consists of 5 courses, 2 simulations, as well as 6 exams or assessment. To qualify for this real estate program with Humber College, you should at least have Canadian Secondary School Diploma or GED certificate or any equivalent or higher credentials. In case if you have a bachelor or master degree from any other country, that's valid as well. During the registration phase, you will need to upload the documents, your credentials. Once you have applied, Humber will need a couple of business days to review your application and approve it. Once approved, you will be able to enroll in the courses. This application process is completely online. You can go to Humber College Real Estate website and apply online. Like I mentioned before, there are a total of 5 courses, 2 simulation. Every course will be followed by an exam. Even the simulations are followed by an exam or assessment, except for course 5. Course 5 just has 2 modules, but there is no exam. You will be able to finish course 5 in about 2 to 3 hours. Now let's look at the lineup of courses. Course 1 is Real Estate Essentials, 7 modules, followed with the course 1 exam. Course 2, Residential Real Estate Transactions, 20 modules, followed by the Course 2 exam. Course 3, Additional Residential Real Estate Transactions, 9 modules, followed by the Course 3 exam. For example, once you enroll in Course 1, you need to finish all the slides in Course 1 so that you can book the exam for Course 1. And without passing Course 1 exam, you won't be able to book course 2. So everything needs to be in the sequential order. After passing course 3, you will be able to book your first simulation, which is simulation 1, residential real estate transaction, which consists of 5 full days, 9 to 5. You can either take this in one stretch in one full week, Monday through Friday, or you can take this during the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I personally did both my simulation during the weekend since I'm working full-time in IT. On the 5th day of simulation 1, there will be an exam, and all the questions will be from those previous 4 to 5 days what you learned during the simulation session. And the attendance is mandatory for the simulation, and you need to pay attention to all the topics that are discussed so that you can easily pass your simulation 1 exam. Once you pass the simulation session 1 exam, you will be allowed to book for course 4, which is the commercial real estate transaction, which consists of 15 modules. Once you finish that, you can go ahead and book your course 4 exam. After the course 4 exam comes the simulation session 2, which is the commercial real estate transaction. This simulation is 4 days, and again the same rule applies like previously for simulation session 1. Once you finish simulation session 2, you can take the course 5. Course 5 just consists of 2 modules. 1, Welcome to Obtaining and Maintaining Your Registration and Insurance. 2, Welcome to Exploring Areas of Focus and Choosing a Brokerage. There is no exam for course 5. I was able to finish course 5 in about 2 to 3 hours. If you're a fast reader, you might be able to finish it sooner. Now let's dive in a little deeper and let me explain how I studied each and every course. Course 1 consisted of 7 modules, and these 7 modules are long, and it might be boring for a lot of people because there's a lot of rules, regulations, and they talk a lot about REBA. If you're new, you might ask what REBA is. REBA is Real Estate Business and Brokers Act. But at the end of this course, you will be sleepwalking and sleep talking REBA. Once I finished all the slides, I opened up an account with Passit and I started doing practice question, a lot of practice questions. But still I wasn't satisfied if, I didn't know if these questions are going to be the same in the exam or not. So what I did was I also opened up an account with Minicram and I also practiced all those questions. What I noticed in the exams was the exam questions were more similar to Minicram. There were no like-to-like questions, but there were a lot of similarities. When I read pass it as well as minicram questions, even if I make a mistake, I used to study why I made a mistake, what is that, what are the answers given, why is that answer given. Every question I analyzed it and I studied it that way. If you're just going to by heart the answers from pass it or minicram, you won't be able to pass the exam. So make sure read your questions as well as answers and research about why that answer is given, so that can help you pass the exam. Now I got the first taste. Now I know the trick of passing the exam. So what I did for course 2 was actually long, 20 modules. This is the largest course in this entire program. I skipped all the slides and went to the last, booked my exam, and I kind of read in the reverse order. So what I did was I started doing practice questions first. I opened up minicram, I started doing minicram questions. I was making a lot of mistakes to begin with, right? Because I didn't know anything about those topics, but I started researching the answers, why I made the mistakes. Both minicram and pass it, even though they are practice questions, they give you detailed answers in terms of why this is wrong and why this is right. And reading those helped me a lot. So like I said, for course 2, first I did all the minicram practice questions. Then I did pass it practice question. And then I went ahead and read all the chapters. It was more clear to me. The clarity was better than going through the Humber College course first. So you can pick and choose which method you want to follow. Even for course 3 and 4, I did the same. I enrolled in the course, skipped through the last, I booked an exam date so that it gives me some pressure. So, I need to finish it during that time. Then I went to minicram, did all the practice questions. Then I went to pass it, did the practice questions again. Then I'll go to the Humber College course, read through all those slides. I was able to read it in much faster because I already did a lot of practice questions. And again, the exam questions were not like to like at all. But if you've done the practice question, if you have studied the material well, you should be able to pass it in no time. And during all these courses, you'll start to realize there is a lots of repetition. What you studied in course 1 might come in course 2, course 3, course 4, and what you studied in first 2 courses would follow in course 3 and 4. After a couple of courses, you will get the hang of it and it will be much faster for you to learn the material. The other question is math really important? In all my exams, I would have had 1 or 2 math questions, but I made sure I read the math well because it's going to help you in the career too. When you actually practice real estate, the math might be very handy. So I made sure I read all the math question, and also there's no ambiguity in answering a math question. It's just a number, right? The questions won't be straightforward. The answers won't be straightforward. You will have to read it like once or twice to actually understand what they're asking, and there'll be a lot of not questions, and these not questions are very tricky. If they ask you in a straightforward manner, you would know the answer, but there will be a not in between saying that, please explain which is not compliant, right? And you will be thinking, okay, the first answer will be compliant. Oh, they're asking for a compliant, so you might tick that, but in the question a not will be buried there. All the exams you will be able to take it online with Proctor Track, but I'm not a fan of online exams. So the first 3 exams I actually went personally to Humber College Center, which is at 30 Career Drive. That's their exam center in Etobicoke. I wrote my first 3 exams there. But when it comes to simulation 1, you have to write that online. And Proctor Track, they will complain for each and every single thing when you're writing the exams. You won't be able to put your hand like this, and you won't be able to turn here and there. They'll make you so uncomfortable. So you would feel that, okay, for this pain, I would directly go to the exam center and write that exam. You won't be allowed to drink water, and they'll ask you to scan the room. So they'll pretty much ask you to move your printers out, computers out. If you have any clutters in the room, they'll ask you to clear everything. They'll pretty much want a super clean room and environment. One day I was really sick and I wasn't able to even have a tissue nearby me, and I had to fight with the Proctor Track proctor to actually allow me a tissue so that I can blow my nose or drink whatever, right? I personally felt the 3 exams which I wrote in the center, I was more comfortable. But online exams, you need to be aware that they have a lot of rules and regulations for that. It's better you read everything before you get into the exam. Now let's talk about simulation 1. Simulation 1 are lengthy and draggy. If it was me, I would say they can condense that 5-day program for simulation 1 into 2 to 3 days, because they keep talking about the same thing. They discuss in a group and it just drags and drags for even a simple topic. But at the end of the day 5, during the exam, all the questions would come from the topics which you discussed during your class. There'll be a lot of role playing. You'll be role playing as a realtor, as a buyer, as a seller, and there'll be a lot of talks about compliance, due diligence, etc. The instructors were amazing. They were very knowledgeable. They were able to answer everybody's question. They were very polite, very professional. I learned a lot from those, but really I'm not a fan of those 5 or 4 days. It can really be condensed, and we can get it done in 2 to 3 days max. After simulation 1 comes course 4, which is the commercial real estate. Once you finish that course, you write the exam, then comes simulation 2, which is also about commercial. You might be asking, I'm not going to practice commercial real estate. Is this mandatory? Unfortunately, yes, this is mandatory. You need to study commercial real estate as well in Ontario so that you can fully register with RICO. Now you might ask, like, how much time do we need to finish this exam? I studied this part-time. I was working full-time, and then I used to study in the morning, evening, and during the weekends, and it took me about 10 months to complete the entire program. But if you're studying full-time, I think you should be able to finish this in 4 to 6 months. You might be asking, like, can I finish it much more sooner if I study fast? If you're studying fast, yes, you might be able to finish it sooner, but the problem is getting the exam dates. The exam dates are available only at a certain time. So in case let's say if you finish your course today, and if you want to book your exams, let's say tomorrow, the exam won't be available. It's going to be available the week after. So one thing which I did, and which a lot of people suggested, was skip the exams, book the exam date prior, and then start studying and then give your exam. That might help you to save some time just sitting and waiting for an exam date. Now let's talk about which courses was tough and which was easy. I would easily say course 2 and course 4 was the toughest. To be precise, I would say commercial transactions, course 4 was a little bit tough, and course 2 was more residential transaction, but it was a lengthy course, 20 modules, so it takes a lot of time and material that you need to go through for that exam. So in that way, course 2 was a little bit difficult, and then followed by course 4. Some people say course 2 is tough, some people say course 4 is tough, but it depends, right? But course 3, I think that will be the easiest, and of course course 5, there is no exam. You just need to read the material, that's all. Now, difference between PASSET and Minicram. PASSET has a practice exam simulator. You can go in, give in your answers. It's going to say yes or no, whatever, and with the answers, etc. But Minicram, they did have a simulator where you can enter the answer, and then it's going to automatically calculate your results and everything, but they started having issues. The first 2 exams, course 1 and course 2, I was able to do the simulation in Minicram, but I think after course 3, they only give PDF. Once you pay, they'll email you the PDF with all the questions, practice questions and answers, and you can study it that way. Personal preference, I thought Minicram kind of related more to the exam than PASSET, but a lot of people feel the other way. A lot of people have said, I did PASSET and it kind of relates more to the exam than the Minicram. So it's kind of personal preference, and my personal preference, I was leaning more towards Minicram than PASSET. Now, what is the cost of this entire program? It's going to cost you $3,780. This includes your application fee, every course, every exam, including the simulation session and simulation session exam. Other expenses would be your practice questions with Minicram or PASSET, and both of them don't have practice questions for simulation sessions because it's not actually necessary. All the questions will be discussed. They're not going to give you the questions to you, but they will be discussing all the topics which are going to come in the exam for simulation session, and if you just attend the simulation session, you will be able to pass it. So no point for these practice questions in Minicram or PASSET. For Minicram, it costed me a total of $103.91. For PASSET, it costed me $187.53. To study and complete this program, it costed me a total of $4,071.44, including all taxes, plus you need to spend a lot of time and energy. Following all these process and steps, I'll show you how much I scored, and the score is on the screen. I was able to finish all those in first attempt, and I hope you can also do that in your first attempt. And I want to give a shout out to Callum Moore. When I didn't have a clue on what I was looking for, Callum Moore, he's a realtor with eXp Realty. He has posted a lot of videos in detail about each and every course. I had a look at it, and that kind of helped me a lot. So in case if you are looking for in-depth details on every course, I would highly recommend to visit his channel and watch his videos. Now the question is, can you pass it? I would say Anybody can pass this real estate program. You just need to put that time and focus into the material, and if you do that, I guarantee that you will be able to pass these exams in first attempt. Now I'm a registered salesperson with Rico. Before registration, I had to pick and choose a brokerage, and I picked Remax Ultimate. They're a beautiful brokerage. I did speak with the broker of record, and amazing people, amazing team. I'm very glad that I'm here. I hope this video helped you to clear some doubts which you had about this program. If you have any other questions, please do leave a comment. I would be happy to answer. Thank you. See you in the next video.